Thank you. Jim Gardner.
I listed 3 things down here when you talked about it, and the first thing I listed was combine them, make it bigger, make it one big fire department between Johnstown and Milliken. But is it feasible or is it realistic? Do we lose too much in a fire district like Greeley Evans became a different fire district? They have a different name than Greeley or Evans. And so do we lose things there? So I talked to them about combining the sanitation district years ago. And then I talked to Johnstown when I was on the board about when nobody had a chief of police, of maybe even combining those 2 departments and call it 2 rivers, whatever you want to call it. And I got negative there. But I think we need to sit and study the pros and cons of the whole issue beyond the physical and the monetary values. We have to say, what is Milliken going to lose? And that's what I would concentrate almost more on than anything is, what do we lose or what do we gain? Because the gain is also something that would, if your house is burning, I don't care where that fire truck comes from, I need a fire truck because my house is burning. And so what do we gain? Do we gain time? Because for fires and rescues, it's all time. And so that's one of the things there. So we have to look at both sides.
Thank you. Jim Anthony.
Well, I'm kind of between the 2 mayor candidates a little. I think the identity is important for any town, be it fire department, police department, or other. Physically, sometimes when you do a combination or combine 2, it pays for itself. In this instance, I don't know. I mean, we have a fire station here, and like they say, there's one at least 10 to 15 minutes north of us, well, northeast of us. If these trucks are gone, Johnstown's our closest cooperating fire department. There's no way the trucks from up by Evans can get here in time. The change of the fire department with the chief was, I thought when it first came out and was announced, was one of the best ideas that came across. Number one, we have a great chief, and like Janie, the mayor, said, they have improved Johnstown's department because Ron is a great chief. Is it going to be detrimental to combine the 2? I don't know. It needs to be looked at. I'd rather have the word Milliken on a fire truck that comes to my house rather than one that says Johnstown, Milliken. But I don't have an answer at the point in time if it's feasible and does it work.
Okay, thank you. Ann Reed.
This is the first I've ever heard of it. I didn't even know that we had the 1 fire chief at both places, so that's news to me. It's interesting. It sounds like the idea with the 1 fire chief has worked out well, and I would hope that whether it's 1 chief or a joint department, cooperation is going to be the biggest thing. I do agree with Jim that, and everybody, that having a Milliken Fire Department, it's nice. It's kind of brings the community together. You have a Milliken Police Department. So I would prefer to keep them separate. And with the 1 chief, as long as we have a good cooperative effort between the 2 departments, unless there's a huge financial benefit, I don't see a reason to bring them together. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Reed. We'll now move on to another question, and in the audience there, if you have questions, write them down, kind of let Carolyn know, and she will pick them up for us. We'll begin this question for all candidates with Jordan. Your thoughts and opinions on pursuing a recreation center?
Well, I think a recreation center would be phenomenal for our community. That's something I think the the town should be more proactive on in terms of getting the recreation facility to either locate midway between Johnstown and Milliken or actually within Milliken. And I know some land had been donated in Johnstown, but, you know, our tax dollars are paying for this too. And, you know, if it's far out in Johnstown, it's Johnstown's recreational facility, the way I look at it. So I would kind of like to see that, some kind of compromise, have it located somewhere in between, because, you know, I think that's key for our community, and I think it would receive more use from Milliken residents if it was actually somewhere in between the two towns, if not located here. So those are my thoughts on the recreational facility.
Linda?
I think it's a great idea also, because I think the kids here, and the adults, could use a place to go and, oh, if it had a pool. I don't know what all the details of that. I would prefer to see it in Milliken so that we have something that Johnstown can use, but I'd like to see it located here. I think it's a great idea. Now, the tax dollars, I have no idea. And I think everybody, from young children to older people, there could be programs for everybody, and it would be wonderful.
You'd like to have assets like that around, and I don't think anybody here discounts that it would be quite beneficial for the community. I have seen, however, in different communities, how it's utilized or unutilized, that it's not just the building end, that's the start of it, but you still have to operate it. And I've seen, going back to dollars, I've seen how much it costs to operate it, because it's equipment, it's personnel, it's everything. You need to weigh some of that and say, is it worth it? For some of us, it's no-brainer. We'll pay for it one way, shape, or form. And that's fine too. You need to get enough feedback from people. Am I in favor of it? Yes. But it's kind of like buying a pair of boots. It's a good deal for $100, but if it costs me $1,000, I got to think about this. Right? So that's the dilemma that I think all of us have right now, particularly since we're limited in funding. We're limited in how much we want to fork out in tax dollars. Milliken itself has a big mill levy themselves of our tax dollars. It goes to the town predominantly, not just to the rec district. So your total tax dollars are going to help subsidize this. You need to look at that yourself. Just from a concept standpoint, I think it's a great idea. From the standpoint of work location, I do think it needs to be located within the two communities for greater access and benefit for all. But I think there's a lot of other what-ifs in this equation as well to consider.
Jamie?
As I've gone around town, there were two things that people have said just over and over again. They wanted a grocery store and they wanted a rec center. There has been a civic group that's been trying to initiate that. It takes a feasibility study, which is expensive. It takes money. It takes a mill levy. The people would have to decide that. They're expensive to operate. Would I like to have a rec center? Absolutely. One of the questions, two of the questions, are you in favor of it? Yes. Are you willing to help pay for it? And then you get a different answer sometimes. But I would love to have one. I think it does have to be more centrally located if we have it, so that it's equally accessible by both Milliken and Johnstown residents. I don't think it can just be in the one edge of one town or the other, or the opposite town is not going to be supportive. But yes, would love to have it, but takes a lot more work to figure it out.
Rec center, the first thing I think about in a rec center is, can you walk to it? Can you bike to it? If you can't do that, then the kids aren't coming. Because if they do, if the kids go, that means the mom or the dad or the big brother has to take them and has to pick them up. It becomes a very big thing. I would like to have a rec center, and so, but how much am I willing to pay for the rec center. And I kind of agree with everybody that I've heard, is that if it's in between the two towns, we have a rec district, then we can work through the district. The town could say, hey, we'll help them as much as we could. But I mean, for me, myself, I would go to the rec center and use a pool because I can use the therapy. But the rest of the time is, how often do I use one? So I would like to see the a study done, or just an impromptu study. What are they talking about in dollars? But the biggest thing is it convenient? And so that's where I would be. The very first thing is if it's convenient for the town of Milliken. I'm done. She said 10 seconds.
Well, I'm all for a rec center, that's for sure, because I come from Thornton, originally in the North Glen area, and we had 2 rec centers within 3 miles of each other. One was used greatly, the other one fell into disuse. In fact, it's almost to where they are gonna have to destroy it because they don't have the tax money to fix it. I don't know for sure. I heard at one time TRPR, excuse me, has some land in between the two cities, it's already paid for, that they were discussing to the rec center between it, kind of, I think it's off County Road 19 area over there. And they were discussing a trail between the two towns that could be used for that. I think a cooperative venture between the two towns would be best for the rec center if it can go forward. Again, it's the cost. How much are we willing to pay for? Because it is expensive to operate it once it's built. Very expensive. I watched the mill levy in Thornton go up over 40% in 10 years for operational cost only, so keep that in mind. Thank you.
Yeah, I would love to have a rec center here. My wife and I always want to go do something and have to go into Greeley or Loveland to do it. So I love the idea. Cost, as everyone has said, would be a big factor, but until we see some numbers in front of us, all we can do is go off of if it's something we would enjoy. And it is something I would enjoy. It's something I would like to see. And hopefully between Milliken Town Board, Johnstown Town Board, and the Parks and Rec District, maybe we can come up with some numbers and put them in front of the people and, see what everyone truly is willing to pay.
I would like a rec district, yes. I think TRPR is doing a fantastic job. Laura is very, very good out there. And I'll be the first to admit, I don't use TRPR a lot for things, but that's my fault. They have all kinds of programs for any age group, but my problem is, if they're going to build a new rec center, I really would like to see it on County Road 19 out here, where they do have a property bought out there, great view, for everybody. But it does bother me to think that they would build a new rec center, it would still be TRPR, and I have to pay my taxes again to Johnstown. I want between Johnstown and Milliken. That's where I want pay taxes over there. I want to pay taxes on something that's located in Milliken. And, again, like I say, TRPR does a great job. And any community, every community needs a rec center. I think that's what draws people, a lot of people here, especially couples with young children, because they have just absolutely an unlimited amount of things going on out there.
Okay, thank you.